Well, good evening everyone and welcome to round 9 at the Red Bull Ring in Austria here in ILR1. The Austrian Grand Prix is traditionally one of the more action-packed and instant-filled races on the Canada, helped by a very short lap time and plenty of overtaking places. So don't be surprised to see moves up and down the field throughout the race. The weather in the Spielberg Mountains is also unpredictable and could see strategies continually change. Well, good evening everyone, Alex Lilliart here. I wasn't here last week, unfortunately I had a pretty ferocious throat infection, completely lost my voice. So the league had to scurry around to find a replacement for me, and Graham very kindly stepped in to do the French Grand Prix last week, so thank you very much for that. But I'm back now, a week away, felt like a month, such as how much I'm enjoying commentating for ILR1 this season. You can see we've got 17 drivers, we're missing a few, and there's some new names in there as well. So we're just watching ILRGT complete his first time lap in the Toro Rosso, I should say, coming down at the final couple of corners. He's got Rafa ahead, who's completely got in his way as he tries to set himself up for his first attempt, and that'll probably be a few question marks over Rafa's head after that for blocking there in the final couple of corners. So there's plenty to talk about before we do start to see some more and more lap times come in. So after the French round, we had a whole host of drivers, for whatever reason, decide that they didn't want to take part in ILR1 anymore. In fact, 4 drivers have left, and that's not including Liam Yeo, who left, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So then, just to run through them all, NSX Dusty, who was a reserve driver, has left. LR Francis in the Toro Rosso has left. Paris in the Renault has left as well. And more shockingly of all of them, you can see them on the left, he's not here tonight, it's Truesdale, our championship leader, or was championship leader. He has also left as well. Now, I'm not going to go into details and say the reason why they left. I think a lack of motivation was more of it, but what that's done is brought some new drivers into ILR1, because obviously if so many drivers leaving, we have to find replacements. We can't run around with 12 or 13 drivers every race, just looks a bit silly. And what it has done then, with Truesdale now being out of it, has completely blown the Drivers' Championship wide open, and I will touch on both the Drivers and the Constructors' Championships in a few minutes. So we've got some new drivers coming in then. We've got ILRT Emir and LR Betty have made the move up to ILR1, both in the Toro Rosso. Zenki has moved up as well into the Renault, and with Liam Yeo leaving after Canada, Speedster has moved up into the Red Bull, partnering Sparks in a full-time driver. Zenki and Speedster have moved up from ILR2. LR Betty moves up from ILR3. And ILRT Emir was a reserve driver. He joined the league just a couple of weeks ago, and he is immediately in then for a full-time seat in ILR1, straight out of the pan and into the fire. So we got some lap times on the board now. 1 minute 4.097 is the fastest so far from Sparks. Zenki in second place. We've got It's Me doing donuts on the exit of the pit lane, gets it pointed in the right direction and carries on. So we've got Speedster in third, Blizzard in fourth, Lakitu in fifth as well. We've got Sterling on the fast lap, LR Poe I should say, on an out lap. We've got Rafa as well. He's coming around to complete, I believe, his first lap. We'll get the details up then so we know what's going on with lap times, and we'll also bring up what tyres they're currently fitted, I should say, rather than best. So a lot of them going out there initially then to do their first run on these soft tyres. So this circuit then is one of my favourites, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of other drivers quite like it as well. The track length here is just over 4.3 kilometres in length, with over 75%, I believe, taken at full throttle. 3 DRS zones for the first 3 straights will provide lots of overtaking opportunities, and watch out for the 2 quick left-handers in Sector 2. With a little twitch of the oversteer, we'll see the cars skittle off into the gravel traps and lose a lot of time and positions. Watch out for those who also use the traditional pad to race with rather than the wheel setup, as this circuit is one of just a few on the calendar where it does offer a clear advantage to those using a pad rather than using a wheel. So we've got 12 minutes left of the session. More and more people coming into the stream. Good evening to each and every single one of you. Anyone watching, if they know what the weather's going to be in both qualifying and race, do please put it up. Of course, being a spectator, I don't see what the weather screen is going to do. It looks very cloudy at the moment around here, so we might have some rain towards the end, and there might be something during the race as well. So if anyone does know what the weather's going to do, then please do let me know. So penalties coming into tonight. There's nothing that's going to be carried over from France, so no one out there for race ban, quali ban, any sort of time penalty to be added on. And there's no reserve drivers tonight either. We've only got one reserve driver, and that's Will Murdoch, but he's not available tonight. Other drivers aren't available. I think we've got Gonanen, who's not here tonight. He said his wheel is broken. Speed Barry in the Mercedes is not here. And there was one other driver. I think it was Lambo. Yes, Lambo in the McLaren. Watching his teammate Yanul here, but it's Lambo that's not here tonight. So we'll do a lap on board then with the McLaren driver. driver through turn 1 into the second zone for DRSN, opening up the rear wing, powering his way all up the hill through what is essentially turn 2, but I don't count it, so turn 2 is here. Heavy braking through the Remus curve, all the way down into second gear, first gear actually, short shifting up to second and then into third to kill the rear wheel spin, open up the DRS for the third and final time on this lap. All the DRS used up in the first sector, hugging the line onto the left hand side. Heavy braking, but it's downhill here, so it does catch the drivers out and you get a bit of understeer through that corner as well. Over to the right hand side, we've got Louis on the left, just politely staying out of the way. Now the double left hander coming into turns 4 and 5, again running wide just a little bit, but you want to be careful to not do it too much. There's grass and gravel just there. The car will be a bit twitchy through here as well. Now through the little kink of turn 6, up the hill underneath the Fanatic signs, and then into the two right handers 7 and 8. You go in here at 6th gear, sometimes down into 5th. He's made a bit of a mess of it, and then down a couple of more gears into turn 8, the final corner. Run the car a little wide, open up the DRS to come across the line, and Yanul's first lap time is was a 4 point, or his second lap time was a 1 minute 4.616, but it was obviously invalidated with a couple of corners to go. Oh, and then he loses it on the exit and puts it in the wall, and just like that, one little mistake puts you out of qualifying, and Yanul then will do no better than 8th, putting it into the wall on the exit of turn 1. That's brought out the yellow flags at the first corner, but that's fine. So Yanul there, nice on-board shot that he managed to catch at, and he's managed to derp it into the wall. His session is over and he'll be bitterly disappointed with that. So we've got 11 of the 17 runners have posted lap times. Amir is still in the pits. Is that Amir Shatter? Probably, I don't know what it is, but Amir anyway, we'll call him in the Toro Rosso, still in the pits, as is Lickle. Sterling, Rafa and Wayne also out on circuit as well. We'll have a look at Sterling, see what he can do. 45.165 at the end of sector 2. Now into sector 3 through the little kink of turn 6, up the hill again, which we saw just a few seconds ago, and he's pulling over to the right hand side coming into the pit lane. So he's abandoning that lap for whatever reason. Might have invalidated early on, or he's just not feeling comfortable, and he will go back into the pits. Zenki then on his first start, a driver that was in ILR2, and I used to race against him, I believe, in ILR3 a couple of years ago. He's currently on provisional pole ahead of Sparks and Aaron Collingwood. Blizzard Speedster as well, and Speedster's just improved actually into 3rd place. So the Red Bulls then 2nd and 3rd. You can see there that what is that? Everyone, 4 drivers in the 103.9s at the top of the board there. So you can probably imagine that once all the lap times are done, I wouldn't be surprised if the entire field is separated by less than a second. Blizzard currently in 5th place coming into the pits, and new championship leader Onyx also coming back in as well. So the Drivers and Constructors Championships then, with just 8 minutes left of this session, completely changed of course due to the fact that Truesdale has left. Onyx then now leads the championship, 80 points for Williams, 80 points. He's 1 point, just 1 point ahead of ILRT Rafa on 79. His teammate VSR Wayne in 3rd place on 73. And then it's a tie for 4th place between ILRT Louis and ILRT Lickle. So all of a sudden, 18 points separates the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship. In the Constructors, now the drivers that scored points early on in the season that have now left, that still stands in the Constructors. They're wiped away from the Drivers' Championship, obviously, but it still stands in the Constructors. So Alfa Romeo lead the way on 152, and Toro Rosso, 2 brand new drivers tonight, are still in 2nd place on 131, largely in thanks due to Truesdale's massive points in the first half of this season. Williams in 3rd on 99, Mercedes in 4th on 77, Red Bull in 5th on 74. So the Constructors' Championship stays as it is. The Drivers' Championship, of course, now completely changed around. More and more people coming into the stream. Good evening to all of you coming in. ILRT and all just come on stream saying, how did I do that? Well, your answer's better than mine, my friend. Just looks like you've lost it a little bit on the curb, and yeah, spun the car around into the wall, and he's currently dropping down the order, already down into 11th. The key to Ben with a 104.288 is his best so far, running a little wide through turn 8. Coming up to the line, does he improve? He does. A 104.164 up into 6th place. And we've still got a few drivers yet to make lap times here. Onyx still in the pits. It's me and Poe both out there. Poe's coming around the final corner now, over the line. Does he improve? He does. A 104.228 moves him up into 7th place. Just looking at the lap times there, you can see that Onyx and It's Me in 8th and 9th have set identical lap times. A 104.248, which is hardly surprising considering it's such a short lap round here. More often than not, we do see these guys lapping incredibly close together. So we'll have a scroll down then to see other drivers. Amir now back out on circuit on the soft tyres. ILRT Lickle still in the pits, and Sterling also coming around to start his first flying lap. Anyone else out there on a flying lap? Betty is just starting his, I think, or is he just finishing? He is just finishing because he's using no ERS. It's Me is coming down to complete a lap, but he's well off the pace and coming into the pits. Onyx we know is warming up. Poe is completing his lap. Lakitu is off the pace as well. We'll have a look at Zenki. He's out there at the moment on circuit. Is he, or is he just finished? I'm not too sure, but he's still on provisional pole. Just 4 drivers in the 103s. There's Sterling out there on the medium tyres. Strategy for tonight should be softs onto mediums, mediums onto softs, if they can look after the tyres, that is. Because some drivers do struggle with a tyre around here. But I'll be expecting pretty much everyone inside the top 10 to be on those soft tyres. We'll have a look at best lap times. You can see they're fitted. So only Rafa has made the change after setting his first run on the soft tyres, an uncompetitive 107. And he's now back out there, I believe, on the mediums, unless it's a visual glitch. No, it's not. So Sterling coming down in to complete potentially his first lap on those medium tyres. This won't be a new track record. In fact, it's probably going to be well down the order. The Ferrari driver comes across the line. It's only a 105.642. Even though he's on the medium tyres, it is a bit off the pace. Amir there, we'll come back to Amir to see how he's getting on, completing Sector 2, a 44.447 for the Toro Rosso driver. Zenki then took provisional pole early on in this session, still holding it with 5 minutes left of the session as he throws the car into the final couple of corners. Nice line through there as well. Hopefully he can hook this up nicely. Don't drag the car too wide. He's just managed to keep onto a circuit. And here comes Emir then, his first lap time all the way up into 5th place, a 104.019. So the newer drivers into ILR1 are doing good performances so far, as Aaron has managed to take provisional pole and immediately being eclipsed by Sparks. So the lap times are slowly starting to tumble here. So Zenki then on his first start in ILR1, currently in 3rd place. Speedster on his second appearance in 4th. Amir's debut seated in 6th place for now. LR Betty down in 11th. And that is it of all the new guys at the moment. So good performance so far from Amir. And this might give an opportunity for Blizzard. Now, a few of the quicker drivers this season, the likes of Truesdale and Paris, have now left. You might see Blizzard slowly start to find that competitive running again. We saw him run very well in Canada, and hopefully that was sort of a race which, you know, gave him the confidence, if you like, to start pushing on now, because he's a defending ILR1 champion, and his title defence has been rather forgettable so far. Just track extending a little bit through turn 7. Coming up now to complete his lap. A 104.112 was his first, and he increases that by 0.3 of a second. A 103.849 excuse me, puts him up into 2nd place and on the front row of the grid. But Sparks still holding on to it. Having a good job so far in 3rd place. Darkbolt coming in saying, go on Sparks. So the support there for the Red Bull driver. Onyx coming back into the pits. This will be a little lull now. Most of the drivers in the pits just making a change onto their final set of whatever tyres they're going to run. Betty Boat is using the advantage of having a fairly empty track, but I think he's backed off. He is backed off. He's got no ERS left, so he's coming into the pits then. Blizzard, we know, is on an in lap. It's Me is on an out lap, as is Lickle as well. So just 2 drivers then, really, going for their final run. Fairly early on, I'd say, towards the end of the session. I'm expecting pretty much everyone else to be out within the next 20 or 30 seconds. So it's Me then in the racing point in 11th place. Just 200ths of a second behind his teammates. So both the racing points running very close together. We'll have to keep an eye on Rafa and Wayne as well, and Louis. These guys in there, and Lickle, to be honest with you, you know, 4 of the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship are in the bottom 4 places so far in qualifying. So they've really just they've left themselves with a lot to do here. They haven't managed to set a competitive banker lap time, and so it's pretty much going to be one-shot qualifying for them. So it's Me then, and jump on board with the Sport Pisa Racing Point. So he now negotiates the double left-handers in Sector 2. He's 300ths up on his previous best. Doesn't sound by much, but it'll be enough to jump up into P10 ahead of his teammate. How does he tackle turn 7 and turn 8? Oh, a little bit of oversteer on turn in, which does force the car a little wide. So he's lost a little bit of time through there. Does he improve in a 1.4.2? He does, of 104.148, just over a tenth quicker, and it jumps him all the way. So a tenth, you improve by a tenth here, and you go from 11th up into 8th place. You can see now on the left-hand side, a lot of drivers now on out laps. We'll come back to Lickle, because you knew he was on a fast lap, but he's abandoned it, and he's going to be going again then. He'll be one of the first. We're still waiting on a few drivers to come back out of the pits. Blizzard is remaining. He may or may not come back out. In fact, he is coming out. You can just see there the very first garage. Blizzard is being lowered off of his jack. So the man in P2 at the moment is coming out for one final attempt. Wayne also out on circuit as well. So every driver then is out on circuit, although It's Me's qualifying is over. He's just set his last lap time good enough for P8. So we'll try to find a driver that's on a fast lap. Poe, I think, is the first one, possibly. Where's Onyx in Speedster in this? Onyx is just exiting turn 1. Speedster's coming down into turn 3. I think Speedster will be the first one across the line. Currently sitting in 5th place, the second best Red Bull driver. In the top 6 positions at the moment, dominated by Williams, Red Bull and Renault. Will that change? Will Louis get himself up there with his trusty pad hacks? And will both the Alfa Romeo drivers of Rafa and Wayne manage to secure a high placing as well? So here comes Speedster down into the final couple of corners. Very aggressive turn in into turn 7. And again into turn 8 as well, giving that entrance curve a little bit of respect. Opens up the DRS, and Speedster does go into provisional pole. 103.742. It's a Red Bull 1-2 at the moment. We'll try to find what else is going on. Aaron is down on his Sector 1 time, I think, and maybe down in his Sector 2 he is. So Aaron we can forget. Zenki is coming down to complete Sector 1. Here comes VSR Onyx then. He's up by 4 thousandths apparently. He does improve, but it's minimal. It's only 600ths, and he doesn't change, and that'll be his qualifying all over and done with. Where's Aaron and all this? We know he's backed off. Zenki. Blizzard is only just starting his Sparks. I think has just started, but he's abandoned it. He's finished. So at the moment it's a Red Bull 1-2. So we'll have a look at Zenki. He was on P1 for the early part of his session. Can he take it back? Rafa has managed to get up into 8th place. That's all he can do. Zenki fails to improve. Where is Louis in all of this? He's coming out of the final corner. This has to be a very important lap for Louis. It's not. He hasn't improved. VSR Wayne also in Sector 2. We'll have a look to see what's going on with Sterling. Sterling's finished. He's in P13. VSR Wayne coming out of the final corner now. He's down in 17th, last driver to set a lap time. Where can he put it? It's only good enough for 13th then. So Sparks we think has abandoned. Blizzard has abandoned as well. VSR Onyx then, he's off of his lap time as well. So the only, and that's it, that is it then. Yeah, the only 3 drivers yet to cross the line, Sparks, Blizzard and Onyx, have all abandoned their final run. So it's a Red Bull 1-2 here. Speedster on pole position, backed up very nicely by his teammate Sparks. Blizzard in 3rd place. The Renaults of Aaron and debutant Zenki in 4th and 5th. And our new championship leader Onyx in 6th place. Very, very entertaining. So there we go then, just to confirm, it's the Red Bull 1-2, Speedster up from ILR2, immediately making a point by taking pole position here. And Sparks as well has been continually improving as the season went on. Started off as a reserve driver, now look at him at round 9 on the front row of the grid. Blizzard, Aaron Collingwood, Zenki and Onyx complete the top 6 for those 3 teams. Then it's Lakitu, Amir in his debut in 8th, Rafa only in 9th, and LR Betty in his debut sees him end in the top 10. Then it's both the racing points lining up on row 6. It's me ahead of LR Poe, and VSR Wayne disappointing in 13th, Sterling, Yanul, Lickle, and at the back of the field Louis making multiple mistakes in qualifying sees him start in 17th. I'm going to take a short break here, but I'll be back with you guys during the formation lap. So here we go then, the Red Bull drivers, P1 and P2 lead the field away for the formation lap around this very, very short Austrian Grand Prix circuit. A few questions have come in, or a few people confused about the debutants, where they've come from. Just to clarify, I did say at the beginning of the stream, if you missed it, I'll say now. Zenki and Speedster have moved up from ILR2, LR has moved up from ILR3, and Amir, who is in P8 at the moment, joined the league a couple of weeks ago as a reserve driver and has immediately been bumped all the way up into ILR1. A few other people coming in, saying that Louis is probably going to be attempting a last to first, so we'll definitely have to keep an eye on him. So we'll bring up then the tyres. Obviously, as per real life F1 rules, if you qualify inside the top 10, the lap time you set, or the tyres you use to set your best lap time are the ones you start on. So 11th down to 17th, they get a free choice, and you can see that it's me and Poe in the racing points, as well as ILRT Sterling in 14th. We're all gone for the soft tyres. VSR Wayne is the sole driver on the yellow walled mediums, and then Yanul, Lickle and Louis in 15th, 16th and 17th, all going long on the hard tyres. There will be question marks if some of these guys can do softs to mediums or mediums to softs, but certainly those starting on the hard tyres will be able to put on these soft tyres towards the end of the race. The track looks nice and clean, and the air, I should say, or the weather looks nice and clear, so I don't think there's going to be any sort of weather changes that's going to be taking place, as Louis Vent at the back of the field, not what he wanted, and he's going to find the going pretty tough around here. It is easy to overtake around here with the DRS zones, but with the field probably going to be bunched quite close together, unless there's a sort of a mid-pack incident at the start. He's going to find it tough to get overtakes done, because of course everyone else will be having DRS as well. We've got 36 laps here at Austria. The laps will fly past as these guys spend less than 70 seconds with each tour around. Speedster on the right, Sparks on the left. Watch out for both the Williams and the Renault guys in the background as well. 3 teams occupying the first 3 rows. Well, a lovely camera angle here, watching all of these guys race up the hill to the heavy braking for turn 1. The lights are coming on now, and round 9 here at Austria is go. The lights go out and away the drivers go now. It's a good start by both the Red Bull drivers, and Blizzard is going to give Aaron the squeeze coming up into turn 1 as well, but Speedster and Sparks stay P1 and P2. Both the Williams and the Renault drivers still very close together as well. We've got Lakitu and Rafa remaining in 7th and 8th. Poe, Betty and Wayne are exchanging positions, but the Red Bulls then at the front of the field are side by side. It looks like Onyx has a late move up the inside. Oh, and he's tagged. He's left his braking late and just tagged the rear of one of the 2 Red Bulls. The other one had to take avoiding action. They've exchanged positions. Sparks now takes the lead. Speedster into second. Aaron, Blizzard, Onyx and Nikita and Zenki are changing positions as well. Here comes Aaron up the inside of Speedster into turn 3. Going to give him the squeeze on exit. May be able to take down that P2. I think the rest of the field have managed to make it through relatively unscathed. We'll jump on board with Blizzard, and as he falls back in line, Speedster running a little wide and given the squeeze again by Aaron in the Renault, and Aaron always very wide line there into turn 6, and here comes Blizzard as well. He's going to try and make this too wide if he can, down into turn 7 and 8. You won't be able to hold it around the outside. Look how close these guys are. And now the Williams guys are side by side, but Onyx has had to fall back in line, and Speedster's been forced off the circuit. He's going to spin right in front of the midfield pack, and he's collected an Alfa Romeo and a Ferrari as well. And Speedster immediately out of this race. Betty's in the pits. Rafa and Sterling have picked up damage. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. Don't be surprised to see a virtual safety car or a safety car for it. We've lost one of the Red Bull. Speedster really did come back onto the circuit at full throttle and lost the car and spun right in front of the midfield pack, and some of those guys had nowhere to go. But Sparks then coming into lap 2 has a 1.6 second lead over Aaron. Blizzard in 3rd place, Onyx in 4th as well, but he's got Zenki and Nikitu very close behind, and Aaron feels the need to defend into turn 3. And Blizzard might try and get the cut back here, but Aaron's going to try and give him the squeeze. He's giving him the squeeze again. Aaron trying to force another driver off the circuit here, and Blizzard wouldn't have taken too kindly to that. That's 2 little incidents with Aaron in 2 laps now, involving 2 different drivers just putting the squeeze on when the car's pretty much alongside him, as the rest of that midfield now all filters through, all line astern. And Blizzard there, I think he's coming into the pits. To be honest, he's moving over to the right hand side. Is he moving in? That was a very strange line to take, but he's allowed his teammate through and all of that as well. So maybe Blizzard is feeling that Onyx is the quicker driver here. Nice rear view shot coming into lap 3. Now DRS is being enabled. They won't have it over the line. And you can see them in the background as well. Zenki and Blizzard going into battle again. Zenki just getting a little out of shape going into turn 1. Onyx exceeds track limits, picks up a 3-second time penalty. That'll be quite popular tonight with these drivers picking up plenty of penalties. You can see now the DRS has now been enabled. We've got Zenki up the inside of Lakitu in the battle for 5th and 6th. giving the Williams a squeeze, and Poe says thank you very much, we'll take advantage of that, and It's Me in the second racing point might compound the misery for Lakito in the Ferrari here, and moving back another position. Lakito defends the inside, late braking around the outside from It's Me into turn 3, but he's gone too deep, he's lost that chance of getting the position back, and here comes Amir as well, keeping quiet in 9th place. Just watching all of this action unfold. Behind him we've got Yanul, Lickle, Louis and Wayne. And then further back as well, LR Betty, Sterling and Rafa have all had to make early pit stops after picking up damage after Speedster came back onto the track rather dangerously at the final corner at the end of lap 1. Lost a car, spun in front of the midfield pack. And his race is over, and it's ruined a few other drivers as well. But Sparks into lap 4, 2.5 second lead over the Renault of Aaron, who's got a whole host of drivers, I should say, clambering over the rear of him. Both of the Williams drivers will jump on board with Onyx as Speedster leaves the session. DRS enabled, of course. Will Aaron feel the need to defend? He's going to have to. He does indeed move over to the inside. Onyx is going to have to do this round the long way. Both of them very late on the brakes. Discs glowing bright red there. And Aaron again moving over to the right hand side. Onyx will have another run at this. Will jump on board of his teammate Blizzard, watching this battle close behind in 4th place as well. Will Aaron again give the squeeze onto Onyx? Maybe force that Williams driver a little wide. Aaron's getting slidey into turn 3, and Onyx says thank you very much. Does the very tried and tested cutback, and Aaron might come back at him here going into turn 5. This isn't a conventional overtaking place. They're making contact, and again Onyx is spinning round, and contact, and there's a multiple incident there with a whole host of the midfield runners, and Onyx is out of the race because of it. Lakito has been caught up in that, and don't be surprised with a few others as well. And Aaron in 4 laps has caused incidents with 3 other drivers, and Onyx, our championship leader, out of this race. Getting squeezed by Aaron, making contact, losing the back end, spinning yet again in front of the midfield pack, and Amir was caught up in that. He's had to come into the pits. Lakito will be another one as well, as Louis takes advantage of all the chaos ahead of him, moving up into 8th place ahead of Lickle and Wayne. So these 3 that started 15th, 16th and 17th already now at the bottom half of the top 10, as Wayne now tries to put a move on the inside of Lickle, who can't leave his braking too late because Louis is just in front of him as well. But Wayne's lost out there actually. Very slow exit from turn 2. Swerving side to side for whatever reason. And he'll carry on in 10th place. We've got moves going on up ahead. Yanor is getting battling It's Me for 6th place. And Blizzard and Zenki very close together as well. Aaron is now being pushed down into 4th place. Darkbolt coming in saying you love to see it. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't really look at all the comments filtering in at the moment from all you guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's 1 or 2 angry comments aimed at Aaron, to be honest. He's caused pretty much all of the incidents so far this race. And it's only lap 5 of 36. So we'll jump on board with the Renault driver. Oh, clips the inside curve there into turn 8. He comes back on the circuit as well, right in front of LR Poe, who's got the DRS, has the inside line as well, and a nice comfortable move into turn 1. But he'll be worried about having Aaron behind him after seeing what he's caused already in this race. We're up to 97 comments already. My God, what is going on in the chat? I'll leave you guys to talk amongst yourself. It's a bit difficult for me to really read every single comment that's flying in at the moment. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if a few of you are aiming the daggers at the Renault driver for what he's caused so far. And don't be surprised to see a couple of incident reports after this race as well. Not the first time that Aaron has caused incidents as well. He'll probably do his usual disconnection halfway through this race as well. Such is Aaron's way in ILR1. Amir picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding 2 mini track limits. And Aaron is starting to fall back a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got no damage on that car. I'd be very, very surprised, considering he's pretty much hit everyone so far. And indeed he hasn't. He seems okay. So Blizzard now up into 2nd place, but he's 5 seconds, over 5 seconds away from Sparks, who's going to be loving life at the moment. Running unopposed at the front. Oh, Blizzard taking too much curve there on the entrance to turn 7. You've got a bit of a slidey boy on as well, and that's going to give Zenki a golden opportunity into turn 1. Blizzard there, you can see, turning up the ERS a little bit to try and defend that position if he can. Poe and Aaron are very close behind as well, as Zenki picks up a 3-second time penalty for quite clearly cutting turn 1. And here we go then. He's got a second bite at the cherry with the DRS, pulls out the slipstream onto the racing line, but it is the outside for turn 2 at Remus Curve here, and Blizzard leaves his braking very late, gives the Renault driver a bit of a squeeze, and that's going to give LR Poe a golden opportunity then to try and make a position up. Zenki for some unknown reason doesn't know. Well, he wouldn't have a DRS, would he? He was marginally ahead coming over the DRS line, up the inside for the racing point, and Zenki just about leaves enough space, but his exit was hindered there a little bit, and Aaron is sniffing a position change, but he's had to fall back in line. So we'll move away from them guys very briefly, see the second battle that's going on behind. It's me in the second racing point in 6, just ahead of Louis, Yanul running wide in the background through turn 5, Lickle and Wayne all inside the top 10. They've had all these guys have made pit stops. Amir in 11th ahead of LR Betty, Lakitu, Rafa and Sterling. We've lost Onyx and Speedster. Speedster losing it at the end of lap 1 and taking multiple cars with him and forcing pit stops, and Onyx being squeezed off by Aaron through the turn 5, turn 6 double left-hander, and he spun back into the midfield as well, collecting a few other cars. So lap 8 of 36, Sparks with an almost 6-second lead now as this battle for second place continues to rage on. Blizzard defending the inside from Zenki yet again, and we'll jump on board with Poe and see if Zenki can do the cutback. Blizzard cuts him off nicely. Aaron's too far back to try anything, but we'll jump on board again with Zenki. He's going to have to do this around the hard way, around the outside for turn 3. Might try to cut back. We've seen it executed nicely a couple of times already, but Blizzard there sticking to his lines. We've got Moose further back. Louis has managed to get past It's Me, or trying to get past It's Me, I should say. And Lickle has managed to get past Unor as well. So those 3 further back, it's just a second behind. And Louis then up to P6 already. Not even, well, what are we, quarter away for the race? Not even that yet, are we? So, yeah, Louis then has done well to avoid all the carnage and rise from 17th into P6. We'll come back to his guys at the front then. Zenki already pulling out of the slipstream. Blizzard cutting him off, moving over to the inside. Turn 1 is not the best opportunity to overtake. Turn 2 is better. You get more of a run with the DRS as well. Trying to cut back. Oh, a contact between Blizzard and Zenki. Damage on that Renault as well. And he's going to have to be careful because there's going to be guys catching him very, very quick behind as well. Zenki has damage on that front wing. I don't know if Blizzard got a bit out of shape coming out of turn 1 and may have got a bit of a snap oversteer which forced his car a little bit sideways into the Renault. And Zenki did well to remain in control. We've got Wayne, Yanul and Lickle exchanging positions because Yanul's off the circuit up ahead. Aaron has managed to keep that position or get ahead of Poe. So Blizzard then still in second place. Aaron now back up into P3. Poe in 4th as well. Really, really good last couple of races from the Racing Point drive. We've got yellow flag in sector 2. So someone somewhere has had a moment, or been off the circuit a little bit at least. Can't see anyone going slowly. So the Zenki pit to fix his front wing. I think so. He's moving over to the right hand side before the white line, which the drivers are instructed to do. And he is coming in then to make a change, probably onto the hard tyres. Managed to slow down just in time to fix that front wing as well. So that's promoted pretty much most of the guys inside the top 10 up a position. And Blizzard, Aaron and LR Postal very close together, second, third and fourth. Sparks is lead meanwhile, 7.5 seconds now. That's Blizzard again doing a very good defensive job. Aaron's going to try to cut back here, and again Blizzard just moves over to the middle of the circuit, making contact with another Renault driver. And here comes LR Poe as well. I can see a crash. I'm going to call it now. I can see a crash. They're 3 wide down into turn 3. Who's going to lose out here? Aaron's getting the squeeze from both of these drivers as well. Blizzard is forcing LR Poe wide, and Aaron almost losing the back of the car and had to slam on the brakes. And Blizzard and Poe making a little bit of contact down into turn 5. And Aaron, they're very close to losing the back of that car. And I think Blizzard's just run off the circuit as well. He has, because he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. And Blizzard is pushing so hard here to keep hold of this second place. But this is allowing Sparks to absolutely disappear. And I think Blizzard is either defending or coming into the pits. He's coming into the pits. So Blizzard then, I think, might have damage on that front wing, or he just wants to get the hell out of this battle. And look at this then. Louis now up into 5th place. That'll be P4. A little bit of lag there from Aaron. We might see a disconnect imminent from the Renault driver. And Louis then up the inside, and Aaron just giving a little bit of a love tap to the back of that Mercedes. So Louis then, P3. And if he manages to get past Poe, we might be able to see a bit of a charge from Louis now on those hard tyres as well. He's done a really, really good job. And all of these guys at the moment, I will at some point, what I need is a safety car so I can read back through all of his comments, because there's probably quite a few funny ones in there. But I'll allow you guys to just talk amongst yourself for now. So Sparks holding on to a 9.6 second lead over LR Poe. Louis now up behind him in 3rd place. Aaron holding on to 4th. We've got It's Me and Lickle battling over 6th and 7th. And Yanulven, who's made a pit stop as well onto the medium tyres. He picks up a penalty as Lickle there tries a move up the inside of It's Me. I think we've pretty much seen overtakes or attempted overtakes at every corner so far in this race. Such has the action has been. I did say at the beginning of the stream, this is one of the best races of the season for the action that we see. as LR Poe comes into the pits off the soft tyres, followed in by P4 Aaron as well. So a few of his drivers will continually move up the order. This is a time then when the guys that started on the mediums and hard tyres will start to take advantage. Lickle then with the DRS moving up the inside, not the camera angle I wanted, but he has managed to make a nice move, a clean move there up the inside of It's Me, who might come back at him. Even though Lickle has the DRS, It's Me is in the slipstream, but I think Lickle is going to do just enough here. I don't think he'll feel the need to defend. He won't. So It's Me will have another opportunity then coming out of turn 2, but a good exit from the Haas driver ahead, and Lickle will consolidate that P4 for now, keeping It's Me in 5th. Blizzard then has made his first pit stop and he's on the hard tyres to the end of this race. Poe and Aaron have made the change onto the medium tyres, so this will be quite interesting to see. Further back we've got Amir Shater, who's off sequence. He's already completed 7 laps on those hard tyres. Zenki as well has been in a couple of laps ago. So yeah, the order I think will continually change as our race leader Sparks is now in the pits. He'll probably rejoin, I think, in 5th place. And as long as he doesn't get caught up with these guys ahead of him, the likes of It's Me and Lickle as well. And It's Me's lost 3 seconds this lap to Lickle. So quite clearly the soft tyres are well past their best at the moment. And the Racing Point driver into the pit centre to make the change onto either the medium or the hard tyres. Sparks, meanwhile, has been serviced by his mechanics, coming back out of the pit lane into P4, seeing as It's Me made a pit stop onto the medium tyres. So Blizzard, Poe, Aaron Collingwood have all made pit stops a couple of laps ago. All now back up into 5th, 6th and 7th. So the top 3 then, yet to make their one and only stop in this race. Louis and Lickle will go long on the hard tyres. BSR Wayne will be thinking about a pit stop in the next handful of laps as Poe and Blizzard exchange positions, and Poe now up to P5, and here comes Aaron yet again, and they've both of them have managed to force the Racing Point off the circuit. They're almost 3 wide again. We'll jump on board with Poe. This will give us the best shot at what's going on with these two up ahead. So Aaron defending the inside, both of them heavy on the brakes, locking up the front right as well. And Poe's lost a little bit of momentum because of it. Blizzard might try something into turn 6. Oh, contact, there's more contact, and Aaron's being spun. Aaron's being spun. Some will say karma. Some will say karma for that. Blizzard tried to move up the inside. Aaron's reset the car into the track. Oh my god, that was so lucky that he ghosted, otherwise It's Me would have creamed into the back of that Renault. And Aaron then has been spun all the way down into 10th place. There'll probably be a few Fs in the chat for that one as well. And a few people probably saying, well, considering what he's done so far in this race, maybe it is just desserts for him. Oh, and Aaron's made contact with the back of Amir as well. Amir going very slowly, and all of a sudden Amir's race is now falling apart. He's picked up damage as well off the back of that Toro Rosso, but up the inside of the DRS into turn 1. So Aaron's race now completely falling apart. Contact from Blizzard in the first part of a double left-hander saw him spin down to 10th, and then he's made contact with a slow Toro Rosso as well. Has damage on that front ring. Amir's going to come back at him though into Remus Curve. I think Amir's outbraked himself a little bit. He has. Amir's not even in shot as he comes back onto the circuit. Got to press the brake pedal, my friend, if you want to get that car slowed down. So Aaron then back up to 9th, but we know he's got front wing damage on that front right. So It's Me in 8th, Zenki in 7th. These two in a nice little battle. Blizzard and Poe still very close together as well. Sparks is now right up with Lickle in this battle for P3, but Sparks is your net leader. We've got Lickle in 3rd, Wayne in 2nd, Louis still leading this race. As Amir picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's picked up a few already in this race. And jump aboard with the Red Bull driver. This should be an easy move. I don't think Lickle will fight it too much. Indeed he doesn't. He sticks the car in the middle of a circuit because he's got to put the car somewhere. But he was never really going to be defending that P3 from Sparks. Sparks has already made his pit stop. Hopefully his one and only pit stop of this race. And we've got Aaron back in the pit set. Front wing change and possibly another set of medium tyres if he's still got one available. And it might very well drop him to the back of the field. It will, in fact, drop Aaron all the way down into P15. Yanal picks up a 3-second time penalty for too many ETLs. There's Louis then, almost at half distance. So much has happened already. Continues to lead this race with Wayne in 2nd. Sparks then your net race leader in P3. Lickle in 4th. And LR Poe a long way back in P5. So then Blizzard in P6, a slightly rejuvenated Blizzard as well. We've got yellow flags in Sector 3. Oh, what's happened here between Yanul and Rafa? We'll jump on board with the Ferrari driver. That'll give us the best shot. And they've crashed somewhere. Look at this. How has this happened? So Yanul and Rafa then have had an instance somewhere, I think, coming out the final corner. Both of them have put it into the wall. Both of them out of the race. Don't be surprised if we have a safety car or a virtual safety car for that, because there's two cars that have crashed on the main straight. But no, we're not getting anything. Driver's still running around at full racing speed, and we've lost two drivers then. So Rafa and Onyx running first and second in the championship, both out of the race. You can see the McLaren still over to the right hand side, but the drivers are still going around at full racing speed. So Louis and Wayne first and second. Sparks is slowly closing that gap, which is to be expected on those fresher, quicker medium tyres. He's dropped Lickle, and Poe is a long way back as well. Blizzard's still hanging on. Both the cars have disappeared, so overtakes can now be done again going into turn 1. It's not too sure what happened with Yanul and Rafa. I can only assume one of them lost the back end coming out the final corner, and unfortunately made contact with the other, put both the cars into the wall, and that is their race all over and done with. Blizzard very close to the back of the racing point. This is a battle for P5 and P6, and it is a true battle as well. Both of them have made their pit stop a handful of laps ago. Good exit from Remus Curve from Pova. I don't think he'll feel the need to defend into turn 3. Indeed he doesn't. Further back we've got the second racing point giving chase to Zenki. And they're both the Toro Rossos who have had incidents early on in this race. Back inside the points. Amir in 9th, Betty in 10th. Both debutants tonight, of course. The Kitu in P11 has been in the pits early on in this race. Sterling as well has had a poor race, and Aaron as well all the way back in 13th. Just racing around now for pride and hopefully a point or two if more drivers fall out of the race. So we'll bring up then the fastest lap. What's going on with that? Sparks currently holds it with a 107.288. And we'll also look at the pit stops that people have made. So Louis, Wayne and Lickle obviously have yet to make their first pit stop. Aaron down in 13th has made 2. Everyone else has made just the 1. So Louis then. Wayne is slowly starting to give chase. And Zenki picks up another penalty. So Wayne then, 17 laps on these medium tyres. They'll certainly be past their best at the moment, although there's no graining or discoloration on either of the front tyres. But I'm sure that he'll be thinking about a pit stop in the next few laps. Might be going on to the soft tyres. Well, if he was going medium hard, he would have made that change already, I felt. So it's quite clear that Wayne's going to try and push these to the early lap 21, 22 maybe, and then go on to the soft tyres if he can manage it. Louis and Lickle will definitely be going into the lap 20s and plus, and they'll be trying to go for the hards and to softs. They should be able to manage it, to be honest. We've got Itzmi and Zenki fighting over 7th and 8th in the two left-handers, and Itzmi up into 7th place. Blizzard still very close behind LR Poe in their continued battle for P5 and P6, which we'll go up the order a little bit once Louis, Wayne and Lickle pit. So there's a possible podium here for these two. We'll definitely get ahead of Lickle. I think Louis and Wayne, though, will be frighteningly quick towards the end of this race. But there's no doubting that Sparks then in P3 at the moment will resume a very healthy lead. It'll be well over 10, 11 seconds once Lickle, Wayne and Louis pit. And it's been a very, very good display by Sparks. Started in P2, took the lead at turn 2 on lap 1 when Speedster was tangled by one of the Renault drivers under braking for turn 2. Sparks took the lead, and then everything fell apart behind him, which gained him all the time in the world. Made a pit stop almost 10 seconds clear of whoever it was at the time in P2. And as long as he doesn't throw this race away with a silly mistake, I think it's pretty obvious that Sparks is going to take this race win. Still closing up on Louis and Wayne, who are going to go for another lap here. Zenki and Itzmi are still having a spirited battle over 7th and 8th. Other than that, the only other real battle on circuit is between Poe and Blizzard. Wayne is now closing up on Louis, and he will certainly be within DRS range. He won't be able to try anything in turn 2, or I don't think even into turn 3. But neither of these two will want to battle too much, because although they're in a little battle amongst themselves, because they are in the same sort of pit stop strategy, not tyre strategy but pit stop strategy, they don't want to be losing too much time, because all the time that they gain here they can use to their advantage when they start closing down all the people that get past them when they make a pit stop. So Louis and Wayne will drop down the order and then slowly, I feel, climb back up it as well. Same for Lickle. But it's looking like the Sparks will be holding on to P1, Poe and Blizzard possibly P2 and P3 as well. So Aaron's very close to the back of Sterling. We'll also jump on board with the calamitous Renault driver tonight. He's been involved in 4 incidents. I'm counting it. I think it's 4 at the moment. 3 involving other drivers, and then the 4th one was his own wrongdoing. I wouldn't like to say wrongdoing. He was on the outside of turn 5, and Blizzard just ran out of room, forced the Renault driver off. So Aaron, I think, has caused 3, and he's been guilty. He's been unfortunately not guilty of the 4th one as well. But here he goes, and this is a battle for 12th place. We'll jump off board and see if Aaron can complete this move around the outside into turn 3, locking up a big lock up there on the front right, but does manage to complete the move for what is a lowly P12. Meanwhile, Louis, Wayne and Sparks now, P1, 2 and 3. You can see that Sparks is visibly closing that gap, as to be expected. Lickle pretty much safe in 4th at the moment, waiting for his pit stop window to open. Poe and Blizzard carrying on. Zenki and It's Me as well, still very close together. So we've got a little battle for 5th, a little battle for 7th, and a little battle as well for P1 and P2. As the other Toro Rosso driver, Betty, picks up another 3-second time penalty. So these two are surviving at the moment in the points. Here comes Blizzard very close to the back of Poe, but they're both picking up multiple time penalties here tonight. And Aaron picks up a time penalty as well. I won't worry about it too much because he's a long way back and outside the points as well. So Poe and Blizzard still very close together. Sparks almost within a second now of Wayne, which means he'll be picking up the DRS. In fact, he's within a second, but I don't think he's got it. So then into turn 1 and out of it. Running up the hill now towards turn 2. This is the best opportunity with the DRS to complete a move. Is he going to try something now into turn 2? He's not. Sparks, so still very close and gaining all the time. He will now, I think, have the DRS. Wait to see if we hear the audible beep. We do. Finger on the button, opening up the DRS. And Sparks will not wanting to be wasting too much time behind these guys. Although I feel that Wayne is probably very, very close now to his pit stop window. And what Sparks will want is pretty much at the end of this lap for both of these guys to dive into the pits. But if he loses a second or two, I don't think it will hurt too much, because Poe, who essentially is in P2, is the best part of 12, maybe 13 seconds away from Sparks. Louis moving over to the right hand side, making his intentions clear that he's coming into the pits then. So Louis pitting at the end of lap 22 off of the hard tyres. VSR Wayne is carrying on the mediums. So that's a surprise. I thought Wayne would be in first, mainly because the hards are more durable. But Louis potentially struggling a little bit with a tyre wear. He's going on to the medium tyres, so he doesn't feel comfortable about doing the softs. And Sparks does take the lead. Wayne, I think, just slow down a little bit actually to allow Sparks through. Wayne knows he's not fighting this Red Bull. And Sparks then retakes the lead of the race, which he's held for many laps earlier on, only losing it because of the pit stops as well. And both of them there just weaving side to side a little bit. Don't be surprised if Sparks just weaving side to side to say, thanks for letting me through. And Wayne just weaving to say, no worries, mate, you carry on. I've got my own battle to contend with. So Wayne, I think, will probably be in at the end of this lap. Lickle as well getting very close to here. So Poe and Blizzard will be in P2 and P3, but Louis will be frighteningly quick now on those medium tyres. Further back, Zenki and It's Me still very close together in P7 and P8. Everyone else behind them is spread out a little bit. So Sparks will carry on. Wayne is carrying on as well. Wow, he's really feeling confident on those medium tyres. I hope he doesn't push them too far, but he ends up coming into the pits and I say picking up a puncture whilst out on circuit. New fastest lap for Sparks as well. I think that will change. I think Louis will take that, and then possibly Wayne and Lickle as well when they make the change onto a fresh set of tyres. And it's a good run so far by Wayne. 24 laps it will be on those medium tyres. He's kept it relatively clean, which is why he hasn't added any sort of extra or additional tyre wear to those tyres. But it's been an impressive first stint on those medium tyres. I didn't think anyone would be able to do 23 laps here on a set of mediums. And he's remained competitive as well. He's not exactly falling away from Sparks. Still within DRS range as well, so that will help him. All the time that Wayne is within DRS range, it will help him potentially keep a position ahead of Louis. It's going to be the end game soon for Wayne and Lickle when they do decide to pit, see where they rejoin, and see if they can start to move up the order. He's going for another lap for Wayne. What's Lickle doing? I'll be expecting him to potentially carry on as well for another 1 or 2. Indeed, he does. And then we come back to this battle for what it will essentially be second, third, and fourth. Poe just ahead of Blizzard, and Louis will be closing up hand over fist as well in those fresh set of medium tyres. Blizzard gaining all the time. Louis sets a new fastest lap, which I think everyone and their mothers predicted. And I think Blizzard would have seen that. It would have popped up. Louis set a new fastest lap. You'll be able to see on the mini-map, and you'll be able to see as well if he looks behind. Louis is catching at a vast rate of knots. Nothing into turn 2 this time from Blizzard. We've got Amir back in the pits as well. Don't know if it's to fix damage or just to make another pit stop. It is just to make another pit stop going on to the soft tyres. So that's promoted Betty into 9th, Lakitu into 10th. Aaron may jump into 11th. But Sparkson back into the lead of this race. Wayne still holding on. As Lakitu and Betty are exchanging positions. What's happening down here? Is that just a simple move into turn 2? I think possibly it was. Lakitu has managed to get past both Toro Rosso drivers. One on track, one in the pits. And the Ferrari driver now up into 9th place. Wayne picks up a 3-second time penalty and he is in the pits then. So Wayne chose the end of lap 25 to make his pit stop off of the medium tyres. And at the same time, Lickle is into the pits as well. So that should promote Poe and Blizzard into P2 and P3. Wayne's not even in his box yet. So yeah, definitely the racing point of Poe will be into 2nd. Blizzard into 3rd. Louis will be up into 4th place as well. Is he any closer this time by? Not so much. I mean, Poe's got good pace in that racing point and he's pulling Blizzard along very nicely. So Zenki and It's Me jump past Lickle and Blizzard is not attempting an overtake here. He had a golden opportunity to send it up the inside, but he backed off the throttle well before the braking zone. So maybe Blizzard is just quite happy following the racing point around. Is he going to think about a move now into turn 3? He is indeed. Maybe he just thought turn 3 is a better opportunity for him to make the move pass and stick. Looking at the front right just a little bit, but no harm, no foul. And the Williams driver Blizzard now up into P2. Poe down to 3rd. And Louis is going to slowly start closing. Wayne and Lickle have made a change onto the soft tyres. So both of these two will be frighteningly quick now. Lickle has got to get past both It's Me and Zenki if he's got any chance of getting onto the podium. But Louis got a good opportunity. And Wayne as well, if he can look after his soft tyres and keep them competitive to the end of the race. But Louis, you can now visibly see he's almost within DRS range. And Blizzard and Poe are going to have to get their defensive shoes on if they want to remain on the podium. Wayne as well is going to be frighteningly fast now on those soft tyres. So we'll jump on board with Poe. See if he's going to keep gaining all the time in that Williams into the braking zone as well. Oh, very late on the brakes from Poe. A good exit as well. As Lickle picks up a time penalty. And Louis is now within DRS range and will have the DRS. Amir sets a new fastest lap of a 106.8, but he's only in 11th, so as it stands, he won't pick up the fastest lap World Championship point, but I think that both Wayne and or Lickle are going to go quicker than him anyway. So we've now got a three-way fight for 2nd. Blizzard and Poe very evenly matched, even though they're on different tyre compounds. That's now been joined by Louis, that's on a fresh set of mediums. The last to first challenge I don't think is on anymore, but he can certainly do a last to second challenge, and I think Louis will walk away knowing that he's earned a good 18 points here. It could have been a lot worse for him. Now with the DRS up the inside of Poe, who also has the DRS from Blizzard, but I don't think Poe can fight this too much. And Louis up into P3, into the podium spots as Wayne does set a new fastest lap. And now Louis getting past Poe into turn 1 is now going to try and get past Blizzard into turn 2. Contact between the two of them and Blizzard's damaged his front left there. You just saw a bit of carbon fibre come off of that Williams and that's going to hurt him. Certainly around sector 2 as well. Poe may very well have seen that. You can still see a possible podium on the cards here, but Wayne is catching at a vast rate of knots. And I think both Poe and Blizzard are going to find themselves bumped off the podium. So Louis then, if he's going to do this last to first challenge, he's got medium tyres that are 10 laps fresher than Sparks, but he is 14 seconds back. And the laps are running out for the Mercedes driver, who's going to pull off a miracle here. Both Blizzard and Poe very sideways through 5 and 6. And Wayne is now in DRS range and he'll gain more time here through 7 and 8 as well. Oh, Wayne getting very oversteery there through 7. Into 8 as well. He's really wrestling the Alfa Romeo around the circuit. He can sniff a P3 here. And he'll want to get past these two as quickly as possible because he's on the soft tyres, remember. And Louis is only on the mediums. Poe exceeds track limits one too many times. 3-second time penalty. Further back, Zenki, It's Me, and soon to be Lickle will be in a three-way fight for 6th, 7th and 8th. But the main action is here then. Louis will slowly start to pull away from both Blizzard and Poe. Good exit from Wayne, as you would expect, on a very fresh set of soft tyres. The 17 lap volt mediums on Poe's Racing Point won't be able to hold up too much of a fight. Wayne might even be able to complete this move around the outside with a superior grip advantage, which he's got, and now he's got the inside for turn 5 as well. Poe can do nothing about this, and Wayne then up into P4. His next target is the front wing damage Blizzard in P3, and he'll be right up behind him. He's got to lift off the throttle a little bit because the understeer that Blizzard will be picking up will be killing his front downforce. Oh, a little bit of lag there as well. Very close to hitting the back of that Williams. You don't want to be doing that. So through 7 and 8 then. And you'll have 3 bites at the cherry, if you like, with 3 DRS zones, but I don't think he'll need more than 1 attempt. Blizzard doesn't even attempt to defend the inside, and Wayne sticks the car up the inside through turn 1, runs the car wide nicely, and Blizzard might be able to come back at him here up into turn 2, but Poe is very close. Look at this, Poe will take advantage of this. Blizzard is not going for a move, but Poe is though, and just enough alongside it that Blizzard's got to give him the space. But that's Wayne comfortably through into P3. Nickel is managing to get past It's Me further back, and it'll be up the hill into turn 2. Poe might be able to do anything into turn 3 this time. So that's your top 3. That is now the true race order. Sparks with a 13.4 second lead over Louis, and Poe is managing to get past Blizzard here around the outside through the right hand kink into turn 5. And I think Blizzard unfortunately is just giving up that battle because he knows that that damaged front wing is going to be hurting him. So the top 5 then now pretty much set as the way they are. Zenki has Lickle very close for company. And Lickle will be wanting to get past as soon as possible, and maybe put a late race charge onto Blizzard for that P5, because he will be a lot slower with that damaged front wing. Out of the final corner then. He'll have the DRS, finger on the button. He'll be gaining all the time on the Renault driver ahead of him. Good line through turn 1 as well. Straightens up the car nicely on exit. And Zenki then already dancing that Renault around, trying to position his car the best way he can. Sticks to the racing line, opens the inside very nicely for Lickle's Haas. And up the inside, a smooth move into P6. Now he's 7.5 seconds behind Blizzard, and he's got 6 laps to close that gap. I think it's possible because Blizzard's on very old hard tyres with a damaged front wing, but he's still getting a nice tow with the DRS and the slipstream from the Racing Point of Poe. And the DRS and slipstream is very powerful around here. If you can remain within the seconds, you can gain a lot of time. So I think Blizzard might be quite happy to just follow around, although putting 2 wheels on the grass will certainly hurt him, and he might be outside of the DRS range eventually. We've got yellow flags in sector 2. Who's going slowly? Aaron is going very slowly. He's been off the circuit somewhere, and he's damaged that front wing as well. So Aaron's race has now completely fallen apart. But at 32 of 36, Sparkson doing everything right at the moment. Just carrying on his merry way, maintaining the gap to Louis behind, maintaining the tyres as well, not pushing too hard, making sure there's no mistakes. And this is going to be a comfortable win, I feel, for that Red Bull driver in the end. But Louis won't give up, he'll keep pushing, because he knows that VSR Wayne on those soft tyres very close behind. They've now dropped Poe. Blizzard gaining all the time into turn 3. Doesn't think of a move. Very questionable driving from Blizzard tonight. I don't know if anyone else in the chat has noticed it, but he's taking some unusual lines. And I mean, he's just pushing the back of that old Poe here rather than trying to move or backing off. You don't want to be literally driving into someone. So there's been some questionable moves, I should say, or lines taken by Blizzard tonight. Sometimes he's not defended when he should, and other times he's not attacked when he should. And yeah, different lines and braking points as well all around the circuit. So Blizzard an unusual driving style from the Williams driver tonight. I'm not too sure what's going on, but he's holding on to that P5 for now. Lickle is closing. It's around about a second a lap, but he may run out of time. Meanwhile, Wayne then now in DRS range of the Mercedes ahead, as Zenki and Lickle are exchanging positions. They are, or were, and Lickle a long way back there, so I don't know if Lickle's been off the road somewhere. Oh, very sideways on the exit of turn 1. Too much curve there when he was putting the power down. And It's Me is holding on as well. You would fancy Lickle, to be honest, to easily get past Zenki. Blizzard and Poe exchanging positions. What's happening here? What is happening here? Because who's this up in? Oh, this is Aaron. Aaron getting in the way, who's a lap down. So Blizzard then has managed to get past Poe again. And someone always, Wayne is apparently 9/10 of a second ahead, but clearly, no, sorry, I'm getting that wrong. Wayne is 9/10 behind Louis. Blizzard is 4.5 seconds back. Louis has a 3-second penalty. That might change things. So Aaron then would have been shown, he is being shown the blue flags, as you can see, but I think he might pull away because he's on a very fresh set of soft tyres. And Blizzard's picking up the dirty air here, which won't be helping him. Aaron now does move out the way. He should have done it a bit earlier. And that will leave Blizzard and Poe to carry on their battle for 4th and 5th. Lickle has managed to get past Zenki, which he should have done a few laps ago. So there's still some questionable moves out there, to be honest with you. And there's Aaron very close to the back of Poe. He really needs to drop back a couple of more seconds because Poe doesn't want to be looking behind him. And because Aaron is a lap down, and he needs to stay away really and let these two continue to battle out for P4 and P5. Meanwhile, Wayne very close now to the back of Lickle. And we have rain. It's raining. It's raining here. I don't think it will change anything unless all of a sudden it completely changes in the next lap. We've seen it before. That's, you know, the rain comes down ferociously and within a lap the track is soaked. But lap 34, 36, soon to be 35, the clouds have rolled in and we now have some precipitation on the circuit. You can see they're splashing off the halo and splashing up onto the screen as well. I don't know if that will change anything. There's only 2 laps to go, so I'll be surprised if anyone does make a pit stop, because I think it's only really just started. Blizzard and Poe still carrying on in 4th and 5th. Aaron now has dropped off. Lickle has still got Zenki behind him. So the rain has fallen. We've had so much drama in this race already. Are we going to get any last lap drama as well? And Sparks wouldn't have wanted to see that, to be honest. He just wants a nice clean run to the end. So place your bets. I don't know if the rain is going to change anything, but we might see a position change for P2 on the final lap. We won't get past here into turn 3. Usually the sign of when the change is necessary will be when the DRS is either being enabled or disabled. In this case it will be DRS is disabled. That's usually the go-to sign for these drivers to pit in, but I think with a lap to go it won't work. They'll lose too much time. So we've got Betty and Lakito exchanging positions further back. It's a nice little battle actually back there for 9th between both the Torossos and Lakito. So we'll have to check on that at some point around the final lap. But we are now on the final lap. Sparks sent up into turn 1. Louis and Wayne still very close together in P2 and P3. Blizzard and Poe very close together in P4 and P5. Lickle and Zenki still close together in 6th and 7th. And Amir and Lakitu giving chase to Betty for 9th as well. So there are little battles out there. Oh, Wayne very twitchy on the exit curbs. Could have been the first sign for the Alfa Romeo driver that the track conditions are changing. It's going to be a very tricky final lap here for these drivers. How's Sparks getting on in all this? He seems okay. So Louis and Wayne, I think Wayne he's lost the opportunity, I think, unless Louis falls off the road. Further back, Blizzard and Poe still close together. Lickle and Zenki, we'll have a look at this battle further back. Betty still ahead of Amir and Lakitu. Sterling and Aaron a long way back and out the points as well. So, in fact, Lakitu and Amir are changing positions. We've got yellow flags. Oh, and that's Amir off the circuit, and he's retired as well. But we won't worry about it too much. Poe has managed to get past Blizzard in P4 as Aaron has unlapped himself. But we'll come back to Sparks then. A fantastic drive from the Red Bull driver. He stayed clear of all the damage, and he manages to bring that car home in these conditions at the end to pick up a well-deserved 25 points. And Louis will hold on to P2 ahead of Wayne unless penalties has anything to do with it. He has got a 3-second one he picks up towards the end. Does it change? It doesn't. Wayne had penalties as well. That'll be your podium. And then Blizzard picks up a 3-second time penalty at the death. Here comes Poden holding on to P4 ahead of Blizzard. Aaron finishes the race as well. Lickle in P6 keeps hold of that P6, just 100th away from jumping up into P5. Zenki in 7th. It's me classified in 8th. And who's going to win this battle in 9th and 10th and between Betty and Lakitu? Looks like it's going to go to the Toro Rosso driver coming around the final corner. And the debutant picks up 2 points then ahead of Lakitu in the Ferrari, and Sterling 20 seconds back. But unless Lakitu has a month's worth of penalties, Sterling will be finishing his race outside the points. We lost Amir there for whatever reason on the final lap. We did cut to him, saw him in the wall and out the race, and Aaron was a lap down in 13th. But congratulations to Sparks in winning this race rather comfortably in the end. Louis almost completed the last to first challenge, but has to settle for P2. And VSR Wayne also on the podium in P3 for Alfa Romeo. So congratulations to the top three there. A very chaotic race, certainly in the first half of it as well. Many talking points for these drivers to discuss after the race. But Sparks has managed to survive it. He kept out of trouble at the front of the field, saw his teammate fall off early on. A very dominating display by the Red Bull driver. Congratulations to him and the 25 points. Louis then last to second. I think he'll be relatively happy with that. And VSR Wayne managed to catch up to Louis in the end, but couldn't do enough to get P2. He'll settle for the third step of the podium. So there we go then, and Sparks managed to keep it clean, didn't pick up any penalties. Sparks a really good drive, and you can see there the qualifying positions for Louis and Wayne means that P2 and P3 is very deserving for them. Poe then 4th place for Racing Point. Blizzard down in 5th with 12 seconds worth of penalties. He just hung on there at the end to P5 ahead of Lickle in 6th. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed. Same for Zenki as well, started in 5th, has finished in 7th. It's me, LR Betty on debut in 9th. Lakita in the fry picks up the final point. Sterling in 11th. Amir has been classified but retired on the final lap. Aaron 13th, 1 lap down. We lost Yanul and Rafa in the middle part of the race with a very strange incident which I missed. Onyx and Speedster obviously crashed in the very early laps. That's it then, that's the race over and done with, but the stream will continue as I'll try and attempt to get the top 3 in for the podium interview. So if you do want to hear their thoughts, do stick around and I'll be back with you guys in a minute or two. So, and unfortunately at the moment, the only driver that has managed to join me for the podium interviews is Sparks. I know sometimes Louis is unavailable, and I believe VSR Wayne doesn't speak any English, which is why he hasn't joined in the past. So, unfortunately at the moment, unless Louis joins, unfortunately I've only got the one driver with me, but it's the most important driver, the race winner. Sparks, if you can take a few seconds to make sure you've allowed your voice to be shared, so we can hear you on stream, and then I'll ask you a couple of quick questions before letting you go off into the night.
Yep, it's on.
Cool, lovely. Right then, okay, well first of all, congratulations on the race win. You started this season as a reserve driver and you've impressed with each passing race, moved up into a full-time seat with Red Bull, picked up your first win here as well. It looked comfortable in the second half of the race, but you could have so easily been caught up in all the incidents at the start as well. Obviously we saw you and your teammate battling through turn 1 and turn 2, then he was just tagged a little bit, forced off the circuit. You took the lead of the race, and then with everyone else started falling over and tripping over each other in the early laps, you just pulled away into an unassailable lead, looked after the tyres, made a good pit stop, moved back through the field, regained the lead of the race, and then even with a tricky last few laps in the rain, held on to win the race by 11 or 12 seconds. I probably summed up your race there, but your initial thoughts obviously after certainly a very dominating race here.
Yeah, you've explained it perfectly pretty much. Nothing more to say, but it was such an intense race. It may have looked calm. There was about a 10-second gap at one point, and it just wouldn't stop extending. But my heart definitely wasn't resting through that whole race, and I'm so happy to at least win a race in ILR after the past few races not being the greatest. But it definitely was tricky the last few laps with the changing weather conditions. But GG to Louis in that for putting up a fight at the end. May not have been that close, but I could definitely feel the pressure at the end there.
Yeah, and just talking about the weather towards the end there, I noticed it started raining, I think around about like 33, 34. Obviously, unless the heavens completely opened, there'd have been no chance of anyone, certainly you, pitting in for intermediate tyres. Was the last couple of laps quite tricky? Did you start to feel the grip going away, and did you think, you know, if this race was maybe 2 or 3 laps longer, you might have had to make the change into the intermediate tyres?
Yeah, people could have made that gamble if it was that 2 or 3 laps longer, but I think it was going into turn 4. I completely forgot it was raining and I spun out, took my normal braking points. But yeah, the last few laps I was taking different lines, just taking it easy. I had a 10-second gap, no penalties, so I knew if I just kept it clean, I would have got the win. And yeah, the last few laps were just horrendous to drive in. It was shocking conditions.
Yeah, just talking about your season as it's gone on so far. You obviously started off as a reserve driver, given the seat, and your performances have got better and better as it's gone on. Canada was a bit of a blip where you retired, but you know, you had a 3rd place last week at France, the race win here as well. Is there a pattern, the fact that you've been improving in ILR1 as the races have gone on? Have you felt yourself improving, or has it been a case that the last few races, and certainly here tonight, they've been the circuits where you've, you know, traditionally excelled at in previous games?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've been improving on the game in the past few months, even past few weeks. But Austria, I wasn't really expecting much coming here. Even when I got 2nd, I was surprised. But the last few races have been so much better. I think it's just that I've been finding a lot more motivation than I have when I first joined the league. And racing on a Sunday night in ILR, I look forward to a lot more than I used to, and I'm just really enjoying it a lot more now.
And obviously we're almost at the halfway point in this season, so still many more points to be had before the end of the race, end of the season at Abu Dhabi. And with Truesdale leaving the league as well, that's completely thrown the Drivers' Championship wide open. You know, before this race you'd have been around about 100 points behind him. Now he's left, and the lead's gone to, I believe, Wayne now, who's close to 90. I think after this win you're sort of in the low 50s. I don't want to say you're in the championship hunt, but a couple of more very, very strong results and you could be up there in the top 5. So do you feel that now this is an opportunity, with the last couple of races you've had, to, you know, push on now and maybe start thinking about a top 5 finish at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to count it out. I'm a racer after all. I'm going to push as hard as I can to get that top 5 result. Even a top 3, even a win in the championship would be brilliant. Any of them would be amazing for me. But I'm definitely not going to put that out of sight. I'm going to be going for the championship the whole race, even if I'm 20th in the championship or 10th. So yeah, I'm going for that championship. May not be the most likely thing, but as long as I go for it and put my full effort, I'll be happy with myself at the end of the season.
Yeah, and obviously next week as well at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. It's sort of a home race for you. I know you're Scottish and not English, but it is still a British Grand Prix. So, first of all, are you counting it as the home race, or is it just another race for you? And secondly, what are your thoughts going into it as well? Are you going to go away and do a lot of practice, or do you feel ready, you're on the pace and have the setup ready to, you know, do battle again on circuit next week?
Well, yeah, I would count it as a home race, even though I'm Scottish, but a lot of drivers will be counting it as a home race, as there's a lot of British drivers. But I'm going to take the approach as any other race, even if it's a home race. I'm still going to practice the same amount as I do, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. We'll see, just depends how busy I am throughout the week. But yeah, I've had a few races in Britain, they've not all gone well, which isn't the best thing considering it's my home race, but that's not going to stop me trying to go for that win.
Well, if you see more performances like you've done in tonight as well, I'm sure we'll be speaking to you a few more times this season. Like I said, your performances have really grown and grown as the season has gone on, and it's nice to finally be able to speak to you and congratulate you on your first race win. So thank you for joining me for the podium interviews, and yeah, I'm sure you'll be going away tonight with your head held very high.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. That therefore brings the only person I had in the podium interviews. It is a shame. Usually I get 2 or 3 people in here, but Louis sometimes doesn't join for whatever reason. Sometimes he has to get off the game straight away, and VSR Wayne apparently doesn't speak any English. My German is very limited, so pointless having him in there. So we managed to get Sparks in at least and get some nice answers from him. So that therefore brings the podium interviews and therefore the stream to the end. It's been a lot of comments that have been in the stream tonight. I will go away and read them all as well. If there was anything aimed at me, I do apologise for not not noticing it or reading it out. There was so much going on circuit, certainly in the first half of that race. And as I said before in the pre-race notes, Austria is one of those circuits where there's always action, there's always stuff going on, there's always talking points before, during and after the race as well. But a very, very entertaining race that we've seen, and congratulations to Sparks on the race win for Red Bull. So therefore that brings everything to an end. Thank you very much to everyone that has tuned in. I will be back next week, of course, at 5 o'clock for round 10, almost a midway point of the season at the fantastic Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix. But the racing is not done tonight. Very shortly we'll have ILR2 and ILR3 kick-off. I'd advise everyone that's still listening now to go and watch those streams as well if you can, because no doubt there'll be similar action in those races as well. But for now, this stream is all over and done with. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week.